Howdy, and welcome to the Choose a Happy Day show, a podcast for women who want to up-level their life, manifest those dreams, and just live happier. If you have vision boards, love energy work, are into psychics, and feel you are meant for something more in this life, then this show is for you. Hi, I'm Lorraine Toth, an award-winning filmmaker, author, Reiki master, photographer, and creative genius who also loves to vision board. And I am here to bring you all of the tips and tricks to help you up-level your life. Now let's go and hop on that happy train.
So, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Choose a Happy Day show. Today, I have Katie Manning Hilton. Woo! And I will let Katie introduce herself and what she is. And all that good stuff.
So, I met you a few years ago, but I am a psychic medium, and I have been like this since I was 3 years old. I'm born and raised in Rotterdam. Yes, Irish Catholic family, youngest of three. And my mom is the first person to recognize that I could do this. So I see dead people. And then as my life went on, I wound up working on police cases and missing person cases. I still do when asked. And I have my own podcast, which is Psychic on the Scene, in case you guys want to cross over and listen to Psychic on the Scene. And we cover paranormal and different things, like actually serial killers and things like that too. I know, it's been really cool. And that's been, I didn't even realize it, 5 years.
Wow.
I know.
So, okay.
We did it all through pandemic.
Wow.
And people would like message like, when are you doing another episode? You know, I'm binge listening. So I was like, wow, okay, perfect. Yeah, perfect.
So you launched at the right time. So
yeah.
I'm not even a month in, so you can be appointed.
Yes, exactly. Just be consistent.
Okay.
That's it. That's my biggest thing. Like, you have weeks where you think, oh man, I just can't think of anything. I can't get anybody. And you know what? You just be consistent and keep putting stuff out, and it literally keeps working itself.
All right.
So yeah, I do that, and I do shows. If you caught me at Vapor, Rivers Casino, Grapevine Farms, I still do private readings for people virtually.
Yes.
And I teach classes, and my favorite thing is to speak about stuff like this.
Oh, well, and what do you teach classes on?
The classes, they're psychic development. We have 1 and 2. We have also manifestation. I know. And it's a great class. And everybody in the class went away with a lot of information on how to basically change things in their life, change your mindset to create the kind of life that you want. Yeah. So that's the other part. We did meditation series, past life regression, basically regressing yourself. So it was really interesting.
And you can teach all of this to anyone. Do they need abilities?
That's an interesting question. We're just talking about everybody has ability. We have it in different ways. And I don't think there's ever been a person I met that when they said to me, I listened to my gut and it was wrong, it's always the other way around. Yes. So people that don't listen to what is naturally given to them wind up regretting that later.
Yes.
Where they feel like, oh, I shouldn't have taken the job. I shouldn't have gone on that, out with that person. Now, maybe there's something karmically that they had to learn from that. Yes. But I think you can learn that and not stick in it and go.
Yes.
And get out.
Get your lesson, get in and get out, right?
Yeah. That we're not doing that fast enough, I think, sometimes. So myself included.
I agree. I was guilty of that.
Yes, but myself included, yes.
Yeah, so, we get our lessons, right?
Yeah.
One of the topics that I want to talk about perfectly then is relationships, and when we get those lessons and we don't listen and we're not true to ourselves.
So many people there's a couple parts of this. They want to manifest that soulmate. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they'll say, I really want a soulmate. And I can even remember going way back and I'd be like, do you really? Do you know what you're asking for when you're doing that? And they'll say, well, really what they have in mind is a person or a relationship that they had in the past. So they haven't cleared that out yet. So whatever went wrong with that, that's what you're going to keep attracting.
Yes.
So I'm a big believer when you're trying to get somebody else in your life is to make sure that you clear space in your heart and your soul, do what's called a soul cord cutting, especially during new moons and full moons. Mm-hmm. Excellent. It really has to do with sending back that cord that's been in you back to that person with a blessing. So people get a lot of that stuff wrong. Like, you want to wish that even if you're doing it through gritted teeth, You want to give that blessing back to them so they can go off in their own happy bubble and find the person for them that's for their greatest good.
Okay.
And then you're asking the universe, now I've created space in my heart and my soul for this other person. Send me the person for my highest, greatest good.
Okay. And then do you have to, with your manifestation, do you have to be clear, like, I want this quality, I want that quality?
1,000%. So going back years ago, I was manifesting the person that I wanted.
Yes.
And I wanted, I was down to even, I wanted the truck a certain way. I wanted him to be handy, all these things. Well, I kept meeting this person over and over again.
The same person or different people?
Different people.
Oh, okay.
And I kept thinking, well, that could be the person. That's on my list. Yeah. My manifestation list. I never once thought to put on the list, make them available.
Oh, so you were getting married men?
Married men or in relationships or situationships. And it was happening over and over again. So to the point that my mother and my friends were like, is this one married? Is this one? Is he really going to show up for a date, or is this one married or with another girl? And I'd be like, no, he's single. And then I'd find out, like, literally, like that day, like, no, he's married. And they'd be like, I did it again. So you've got to make sure, with those being clear about the person, you want to say having them ready at the same time, having it effortless.
Yes.
And effortless doesn't mean that you're not putting in work with the person. It should be effortless to be together. And I think people think, well, it's going to be hard, and it shouldn't be. That's how you know that it's not going to, be a problem or problematic later on. So yeah.
And maybe put on that list, emotionally available, right?
Emotionally available.
Yes, emotionally available.
Physically available. Yes.
Physically available.
Yeah, right. All of it. All of the available. But yes, that was a lesson for me. And it was one of those things that I'm driving in the car, like, why does this keep happening? And I was like, I did this. I did it.
Yes.
Yeah. I actually, in the manifestation class, a student was sharing and asking myself and the other instructor about, she said, I think my husband and I manifested something negative for their son or on the team, and son played sports, and they had said, geez, I just hope he doesn't get hurt. I hope he doesn't get hurt. So that's what the universe heard. Yes. And that child wound up getting hurt. I think he hurt his ankle or something like that. He had an injury. And I had one of those moments where I went, and I realized the things I was fearful of, I was putting as much energy with the fear, like, well, they better not, be this. They better not have this wrong with them. And then the lesson of the universe was, it was literally every single thing that I was fearful of. So the universe doesn't hear the difference between fear and want. So anytime you start to go towards the fear, like, don't do that. Cancel, clear, delete. Anytime you think of something or you say something that is a negative, say cancel, clear, delete, stop yourself, and rethink your phrase in a positive way.
Yes. So I am rich. Right.
I am. I love I am.
Beautiful, right?
Right. I am statements are my biggies. They not only help my blood pressure, but when I'm thinking of things or I'm overwhelmed, I literally do that. I am safe. I am whole. I'm calm. I'm peaceful. And it's like,
don't you think of the SNL skit though when you hear that? Gosh darn it.
People like me. Yes, I do think of stuff like that. Yeah.
Yes. But yes, what she's speaking of, guys, is, the law of attraction. So it doesn't understand. It's like all energy based. So if you say, I don't want to get hurt, well,
you're putting as much intensity with your want and your fear at the same time. If you think about that, I'm sure people that are listening can break that down. It's going to happen. It's a self-proclaimed, like you're manifesting that.
So a key takeaway moment would be, don't say, I don't want a guy that smokes, right? You could say instead, I want a non-smoker. Is that?
I would even say that. I would say, I want somebody that is maybe equally as healthy as I am or focuses on health. So maybe you don't want somebody that's a physical specimen, like that's all they do is work out.
Yes.
But you want somebody that's health conscious or mobile. Yeah.
Mobile. That's important.
Well, I'm older. So that's a huge one for me with dating. Like, does everything work?
Really?
Oh, yeah.
So does your new list have that on it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Everything work.
Is that how you explained it to the universe? Everything needs to work.
Everything needs to work.
Oh, I love it.
Everything needs to work. Yes, in a positive way. But that's one of those things. Like, you want to have a breakdown list. Like, okay, and any diseases, I can't do that, but yeah, that's what I think of.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good. I had a list of 38 qualities I wrote 10 years ago, and it took 8.5 years for those to actually come true, but I finally got them. And yeah, I didn't think about the mobility piece.
Oh yeah.
So I guess I took that for granted.
Oh yeah. You don't want to be taking care of somebody or being their nurse.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, we don't need that. And that's one of my questions is, dating in later stages of life, internal versus external, and what you put up with. Do you feel like you have less tolerance at this stage in your life?
You're the first person to ever ask me that.
Oh, I call myself White Oprah. I feel like Diane Walters, I got that.
Yeah, I actually think that's so there's things, especially I want to say gals from the 80s that, how they always talk about Gen Xers. We'd go out all night, party, they come home at 4 a.m. and then get up at 6 and go to work.
Yes.
There's something about that is connected to relationships. I have a theory. And then I actually saw it years later and I thought, somebody stole my idea. But it was that during the 80s, women were constantly told, be a good girl.
Yes.
I don't care if it was in school or in the career, but even if you didn't want to go hug somebody, your family would say, just be a good girl.
Give him a hug.
But they never told boys that. And it wasn't until I had my own son years later that I realized, you know what? There's a whole set of different rules. Obviously, that era, completely different rules, but nobody was telling him, you need to be a good boy, other than just be a good kid, but not the same refrain over and over again. And I realized, how does that translate? That translates that you wind up in a job that maybe you don't want to be with, or people that are not nice to you, and you're still being a good girl, or you wind up in a relationship or a marriage where you're still a good girl. Here's the clue. They're not doing it. So they're not playing by the same set of rules. So once you have that enlightenment, or you realize that you've been kind of trained to be that way.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that anybody did it intentionally. It was a cultural thing. It was a time thing. That all of a sudden you say to yourself, you know what? If they're not playing by the rules, it's got to be equal. Yeah. Why am I putting out so much effort? Why am I trying so hard? So I do think dating younger, you have a different level of expectation that it's going to be reciprocated.
Yes.
And that if you speak it in the marriage, in the relationship, that it'll just happen. And then you learn it, does it. When you get older, I think you're a little bit more like, okay, well then show me. I'll show you that reciprocation. Show me. I don't want to hear about it. Do it.
Show. Yeah.
Right. Don't talk about it. Be about it.
Yes.
Right.
Not less words, more action. Right. Yes.
Don't talk about it. Be about it.
And I've also found, dating later in life, I'm less afraid to speak my mind, and I'm not biting my tongue, and giving my opinion. Right. Do you find that as well?
100%. But the other part for me is because of being psychic.
Oh, right.
Out on a date, I could be sitting there and they're talking and then they say something and I literally will hear, that's a lie in my head.
Oh.
And I'll think, oh, you just told me a lie. So I'll wait a little while and I let them hang themselves. Because they'll say, oh, now tell me again about what happened with your kids or your ex-wife or whatever. And they'll start to tell a story and I'll think, that's a lie. Like you can read it. And I think everybody can probably do that. Yeah, using your gut instinct. I think what happens is if the packaging looks a certain way, we kind of go, oh, maybe they're not lying that much. Or
maybe I misunderstood.
Yeah, maybe,
right.
Right.
And
I actually think to myself, if this was a homely person, would I put up with that? No, absolutely not.
Okay. So if someone's out there, watching or listening, and they want to see for themselves, so they're on a date, they don't have your ability to hear it's a lie. So what can they do?
Again, good question. I think that everybody, like I said, is psychic. I think that when people are giving us answers or questions to things, it hits you in certain parts of your body, especially that. So if you're facing somebody, kind of use your body like a compass. John Edward talks about, like in one of my shows, I can feel certain parts of my body actually pull towards certain people. So when you're on a date, it sounds like so FBI, like profiler.
But they need this.
But when you are asking questions and they look away, they look down, they look up in the corner. The other thing is, are they asking you questions or are they reporting the news about themselves? They're selling you a car. That's how you know. You're like, and for me, it's kind of like, you have no idea who I am. Like you could walk out of that date and go, so What do I do for a living?
Yes. Yes.
And you know that you probably trip them up. So that is a part of that. The other thing is, if you have created like the list you were talking about for yourself and for relationships, and that person even has one thing on that list that's a no, don't lower your water level. Don't say, well, let's just see if that works out.
Maybe I can change him.
Yeah. No. You're not going to change him.
Yes.
If in fact, probably that one thing will be the thing that winds up breaking you up. It'll be the thing that keeps getting bigger and bigger.
In the future.
Yes.
Yeah. No.
Yes.
I'm big on that piece. I
Yes.
love that. Like if they can't look you in the eye and answer.
They're looking around.
Yeah. They're looking for like a made up story, right?
Right. Or they're looking at other people. Like you asked me on a date. And
You're too
I'm pretty impressive. I see her. No, but that piece, like I'm looking at you, I'm engaging. There's a whole exchange of energy.
Yes.
That is connected to that. You're going to feel that in your body, whether it's your chest, maybe your throat, your tummy, which is your point of knowing. You're going to feel all of that. And if they're not doing it, then they're hiding something.
Good to know. And we always find out later on, right? When
Right.
there's something hiding. Yes. But those are lessons, right? We learn from those lessons.
There's certain people that are soul ties. They are considered karmic ties. When I heard that, I was like, oh. So I must have been a whore in another lifetime.
Well, you can do that, right? That's one of your classes. We can do past life regression.
Yeah, 100%. But I think that certain people are sent to us and we would have known them previous in other lifetimes. It might be one of the reasons why you're so drawn to one another, that you know that connection. It feels familiar. It feels passionate. It's instantaneous. And on the other end of that, you've probably met people that you immediately were like, absolutely not. I can't stand. Everybody loves them. I can't stand them. Whatever. They talk too much, whatever. It's probably from another lifetime that you two were enemies or something, and that you're remembering. Your soul is remembering that.
Yes.
So the hardest thing is when we meet these people and they are karmic ties or soul ties, we need to just learn the lesson and get on with it rather than trying to make it something else. Women especially, I think, will sometimes, like say you do a soul cord cutting. One of the things they'll say when you do a soul cord cutting and you're releasing that, you're asking Archangel Michael to come in and sever the cord. You're really not severing the cord. It's actually better to remove the root because like a weed, it'll grow back.
Yes.
You got it, girl.
And that's when we always give them that one more chance, right?
So usually the kismet of it is that as you're doing the soul cord cutting and you're like, that's it. You know, I deleted all the text messages. I burned the pictures. That weekend, you haven't heard from them in months. That weekend, you get a phone call from them. So you're like, must be the universe sending them back to me and they're fixed. No, don't. Yeah, exactly. Don't be stupid. And we've all done
It's a test, right?
I think it truly is a test, and it is a time for you to say, no, thank you.
No, thank you next, right?
Yeah,
As
right.
Ariana Grande says.
Yes, thank you next.
Thank you next.
I'm less likely to think that men do that, but maybe they're not as spiritually aware of that or wanting that, because that's all probably like Disney, stuff like that influence of it. Not to bash Disney, I love Disney, but it probably is more ingrained in women to let them have another chance. It's meant they're going to come back for us. They're coming for me, and realizing like, no
Cinderella here.
No. Well, you can have a Cinderella, but it better be equally matched. It better be you doing your work, them doing their work. And then when you get together, especially when you get older, the hardest thing should be, are we eating in? Are we going out?
Oh, really?
That's the hardest thing. Oh, yeah. It shouldn't be complicated relationship things and problematic finance. At this point in your life, it should be easy.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, then that's great.
Yes.
You must be so excited for this phase.
I am very excited for this phase. Yes.
Oh.
Yes. A lot of fun.
Well, that brings me to my next question about when destiny delivers your soulmate, because we have a mutual friend, Stephanie, and you predicted her soulmate. So is that divine timing? Like,
I think that our souls on anything have free will. So it doesn't matter if it has to do with, we come here with what's called a God contract. Sylvia Brown used to talk about this. And in the God contract, you have certain things that are going to happen, certain maybe obligations in this lifetime. You don't remember it when you're born, but that's another reason why maybe you're drawn to certain people. But your family cluster comes back, usually reincarnates together. So in that free will, part of that is, are you ready? So with dating, have you done the other work to clean out so that your free will is allowing you to look to another person? Years ago, a guy was talking to me and talking about maybe dating.
Talking, right?
Yeah,
Isn't that what
talking.
the kids
Yeah.
call it? These days? Talking. We're talking.
We're talking. So we were talking. This was a long time ago. And he said to me one of the most profound things. He said, do you know what men really want? And I said, do I know? Do I know? No. I said, they want peace. And he said, oh, that's a good answer. He said, actually, they do. He said, what they want is to know that they're the only one.
Oh,
And he said, they want to make sure that there's nobody else in your phone. And it goes the other way too, that you have put under another name, kind of on reserve, that's in the back of your mind all the time. Like, if this doesn't work out, this will be the person, or this is what I want them to be. Mm-hmm. And I was dead silent. And he goes, did I hit a nerve? And he said, that's like the number one thing.
wow.
And I thought, I have to agree. I think everybody has that person. So talking about finding your soulmate, if you haven't made peace that that's not your person, even if it's something that you can go back to or you fantasize about and release it, you're never going to be able to move forward. So even when that soulmate passes you on the street, you're not going to know it. Because why? Your mind is going back to a relationship that did not work out for whatever reason. So what could you do for manifesting? You could say, I want a person that's like that person. I want to feel like I did in that relationship. So that's how you would manifest that too.
Okay. And then Stephanie, her soul was ready to receive her soulmate.
Yes.
Is that how that worked?
That's
Even
how
though she said she wasn't.
Yes. Oh, I love it when they tell me, no, I've never, especially if they've had a passing of a spouse, which it obviously is that they're like, no, I'll never. And then I'm the first one that they message go, okay, you were right.
Okay,
I met somebody. I met somebody and we're very happy and I'm very lucky.
Oh.
And I do believe that your family in spirit sends you people.
Okay.
When the timing is right for, like Stephanie or whatever, that your family will say, we got a guy for you.
We got it. We're sending you.
And we're sending you the right person.
You can thank us later.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah.
All right. And then ways to tap into your own intuition to know if they are the one. Like, okay, so you meet this person. Like, how do you tap into your intuition to know, wow, this is the person?
I don't think it's just a one specific thing. So you don't just get to the date and you're like, I'm going to tap into just this date. I think intuition is an everyday, all day thing. It's no different than breathing, any of that, loving, that it's an emotional, spiritual thing, that it's in a constant. I think what happens to us is that we dummy that part of ourselves down or we quiet that down because we have other things we have to navigate rather than listening to it. So I would say more that you've got to make sure that you're feeling it, you're listening to it. If you're getting something in your tummy or something niggling in your brain, start to ask the universe, start to ask your family and spirit, give me more clarity, give me more signs. And don't get caught up in the signs like, well, I saw 111 and it had to be the person and he called it 111. Okay, those are great signs.
That's great.
I'm not discounting that. But are they saying that to you because they're saying, hey, pay attention. We're here with you and go slow. I think people need to show more action, less words. And we're in a generation or a time where it's all talk, it's all text.
Yes. And it's not the face to face. It's not feeling their energy, right? And seeing it and feeling if they're sincere. Correct.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, nothing against dating sites. And I've done my share of that in the past. But I truly believe it's a human garage sale. And I think that their exes should put a sign out with them, like slightly used, a little dented, and, emotional issues.
There's Facebook groups for that, just,
I've seen that. Who am I dating? Is that what it is?
Yeah. There's a local one. Because, we're here in New York, upstate New York, and there's a local one. So make sure you check that out.
Yeah, you're going to send that to me. But I just think that, I'll give this as an example. If there have been times that you have been downloaded, maybe it's in dreams or you had an experience as a child, recreate that. So if you're going to bed at night and you want your family and spirit to come in and let you know if this one is a good one, ask your family, ask your angels, if you believe more in angels or your spirit guides, come to me and then always say, and allow me to remember. Because we'll dream of our family and we'll have those things. We might wake up with like a vague sense of it. We're not remembering. So that's important. Okay. And the other thing is, say there was, maybe you were at camp or you were at water or you're different locations and it gave you a psychic feel. Recreate that. And that's almost akin to meditation. You're really going into something with an intention.
So they can do those two things.
Yes.
And just to clarify, so before they go to sleep, they ask their spirit guides or angels and make me remember.
And say, allow me to remember.
Allow me to, not me.
Allow me, yeah.
Allow.
Make me remember. Allow me to remember. And if you do that consistently, you'll have clarity.
Okay. Very good. And I have one more question if you got time.
Yes.
So with energy and dating and like, what vibe we give off, is that how we're attracting? So if I'm giving off maybe an insecure vibe, am I going to attract an insecure person to date? Is that how it goes? Or like, should we be more aware if we're single and dating of what vibe we're giving off?
No, I think it has less to do with vibes as it has to do with the words to the universe. Because I'm probably the most introverted extrovert you'll ever meet. Seriously, that if we were out someplace socially, I'm quiet because I'm listening. And so somebody might think that I'm an introvert, which I really am in a sense, but I can put it on to do what I need to do. Oh, and I mean, I've had the opposite. I've had people come to the show and I'm funny and I really gregarious, though that's not me every day. And they think that that's who I am.
Oh yeah, no, that takes a lot of energy.
Yeah, no, I'm not like that every day. And I don't dress up like a mermaid every day. And that kind of, yeah, exactly. Fun, but I don't do that. But anyway, so I do think there is a component of that where your energy that you're putting out, you probably have to work more at shielding. So if you're doing that, like a mindful meditation, especially for empaths, if you're an empath, you take in a lot of walking wounded.
Yes.
And date a lot of walking wounded. And I think narcissists and sociopaths are attracted to empaths. Do I think they do it intentionally? Absolutely not. I think they actually feel good and they are drawn to it like moths to a flame.
Mm-hmm.
I think what happens is the empath is like, oh my gosh, let me help you. And again, that's wonderful. Get a job that does that. Go work in nursing or something like that, but not that it's your everyday life, that you're doing that. So I do think there is something connected with that magnetically, but it's also, again, what are their actions, even what they're saying, that would later make you realize, like, you know what, they say this, but they don't do this.
Okay. So if you're single and dating, really look at their actions, right? Yeah. What we should leave them with.
Yes.
Their key takeaway.
Key takeaway is don't talk about it, be about it.
Yes. Great. And then for your classes, if you want to dive into meditation one.
We have a series of classes coming up. They're usually 4 weeks at a spread. Uh-huh. We're starting the next beginning series again in August. They can go through my website, which is www.katiemanninghilton.com, or through my Facebook page. I'm also on Instagram. I'm not on there as much as I probably should be.
You should be.
I know.
That's where I am.
I'm not on there that much. I am, but I'm not. But on Facebook, it's Katie Manning. And they can message me and find out about classes or go to my website.
And I will link that in the show notes. And then those classes, are they in person or are they Zoom?
No, I do some that are in person. That particular series that I do with this dear friend Sharon, those are on Zoom.
Okay.
And it's great because of the virtual, that people are in their home and they get to meditate in their house and turn off your screen when we're doing the parts of meditations and things. So it's really nice. Very excited. We've had people that are at soccer games and they stay in their car while they're doing their class. So yeah, it's nice.
We don't have to have the mom guilt, right?
No, you don't have to have the mom guilt. I'm doing a Tuesday night class for myself, but I'm still going to watch your game. Yay.
Yeah.
Team. Yeah.
All right. Perfect. So there's the meditation one, a mediumship one.
Level 1, level 2 for psychic medium development and past life regression. And I believe we are doing a class coming up, Sharon and I, that has to do with basically like stop attracting narcissists.
Oh, that's a great class. Please let me know about that. I will share.
It will be on that list. Yeah.
There's a lot of my friends that need that.
Mm-hmm. I get it.
And then the Haunted Italy tour, right?
Yeah, that finally sold out. That's sold out. So we done 2 trips to Haunted Ireland. Then we did Haunted Scotland. And me and my 45 closest friends. And the trips are amazing. It's done through Pack Your Bags Travel with Connie Dyer, who's amazing. And she sets it all up. So we spend like 2 days in one city. And then we get on the bus and we go to another city. We do 2 days there, a day there. And the whole time we're going to not only historical places, but specifically known to be haunted locations in these other countries and so we get a guide and everything. So it's absolutely amazing. The people that go are awesome. So I've never been to Italy. I'm very excited to go to Rome. I know it's going to be absolutely right, like, trip of a lifetime. Then we are going back to Ireland in 2025. So if anybody's interested,
Ireland.
yes, yeah,
And will you talk to dead people while you're there?
oh yes.
Okay, good.
And so does like everybody on the bus.
Oh.
Everybody has experiences. So I make them download on their phone like a ghost app. So we're in different places and it starts talking to them.
Oh.
Yeah. Places with no Wi-Fi. So you can't say it's like influenced by Wi-Fi or whatever. And they'll be at these, chapel in the middle of nowhere and they'll start hearing names and they'll ask questions. It's really neat. And just seeing these places that you've only ever seen in movies, you're standing on, the cliffs of Moher or in Edinburgh, on the streets where, for Harry Potter or Outlander, where they film, if you watch Outlander.
No, I haven't, but I've heard you guys.
Oh,
I should watch it.
you saw. Maybe that's what I'll manifest. Jamie Fraser.
Yeah, there you go.
Jamie Fraser. That's what.
Jamie Fraser, if you're listening.
Yeah, if you're listening, Jamie.
Single,
Yes.
and, she's ready. She's
Yeah.
cut her cords, right?
Yes.
She's done the work.
Yes. Yeah, I've done the work.
She's ready.
I'm ready.
Perfect. All right. And just most people might be listening and be like, I have zero psychic abilities. I have zero training in any of this past life stuff, but they can come in at ground zero, right?
Yeah. They don't need to have previous training. We'll walk them through.
All right. Perfect.
We catch everybody up.
Yes. All right.
All right.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for
coming
having
in
me. I
today.
loved it. It was wonderful. And again, my podcast is Psychic on the Scene, and we cover a lot of serial killers, paranormal, and haunted locations. Sometimes we get a chance to go to haunted locations. Yeah. And the interesting thing about that was, I was saying before, I literally woke up out of a sound sleep and I heard, you need to have a podcast.
Oh, that's how you found out.
And I sat up and I was like, I should have a podcast. How do I have a podcast? And I remember being on somebody else's podcast at a radio station. And what is that guy's name? The producer. I had to go back through my emails and find the producer. And I messaged him. I still was in my pajamas. Messaged him and said, hey, can I have my own podcast? And the message back was, can you start Monday?
Oh, that's so perfect. And that was 5 years ago.
5 years ago with D. Scott. D. Scott and Michelle Lyons Polito. Look, I knew the format of what I wanted, which was talking to other people that work in paranormal or, do this kind of work and go to different places and really kind of keep it open. And then it kind of fell into the serial killer part. I posted on one of my things about a year or so ago and asked listeners to send us their show ideas. And somebody said, you should talk to my brother. This is on the communication. He wrote a book about a serial killer up in the Adirondacks.
Oh.
Now, I've worked on, like I said, murders and missing person cases. She says the name Garrow. And I'm like, I've never heard of that. So other people are like, oh, yeah. It's quite a story. So look it up. Look up that episode. So we had him on. Garrow was in the Adirondacks going from camp to camp. And yeah, it was real.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. It was insane. So from that, we had a curator from the Mothman Museum on, and then so it's all Bigfoot. We talked about aliens. So it's not just stuff or psychic stuff. It's a lot of different things.
This sounds like they need to listen.
Yeah, they need to listen.
5 years in.
5 years in. Well, I didn't realize that somebody was on the show and my producer was looking smugly. I think we were on Zoom looking smugly at us. And she said, how many years have you been doing this? And I went, oh yeah, no, I'm looking at Michelle. I'm looking at Dee. I said, what, like a couple of years? And he keeps going like this. And finally he hits the button and said, I wanted to let our listeners know today is our 5-year anniversary.
Oh, no way, on that day.
Yeah. I said, get out. That's how psychic I am. And he said, yep, 5 years. He said, I just looked back. He said, and this is our anniversary.
Oh,
I know.
it was meant to be.
Yeah, it was really cool.
And was that your spirit guide putting that in your dream?
100%. And that's happened before where I've woken up and had full information, maybe about things I didn't even want, whether it had to do with my family, whatever. But I've woken up and been like, like now I got to deal with that. But when I woke up that time, they said, podcast, you should have a podcast. And when I say I was like abruptly woken up, I got up and I was like, wow.
I love that. And you did it.
And I did it.
So if you get a dream, guys, right? Listen to that dream.
Well, the other part of that was that very week I'd gone for over a year. I'd been back and forth to New York City, and I was asked by a producer to film a sizzle reel for over and over again. First, it was with a group of psychics to have a kind of like a Teresa Caputo style show. So I get message back after there was 5 psychics that the one production company said that redhead, I used to have red hair, all red hair, That's who we really want. We want more real. So we kept doing it and pursuing it. And then at one point, Campbell McLaren, he kind of doled it out to different places. Bravo. Wasn't the right time. They said the market was saturated at that time with too many of the ghost hunter shows and Teresa Caputo. So everybody was kind of going, nah, we're not doing that anymore. You're like, basically, you're too late. So he said to me on the phone, I was ironing, and he said to me on the phone, he said, I just want you to know you're the real deal. If anything ever comes up, I'll reach back out to you. And he said, it would have been great if you had your own show.
Yeah.
And he gets off the phone. I thought,
Yeah.
why don't I have my own show? I could have my own show. I could use YouTube. So
I love that.
I called up my girlfriend and I said, all right, they just turned it down again. And why don't I have my own show? And she goes, yeah, we can do that. Hangs up the phone. She calls me back and she goes, I don't know if it's the hair dye or not. She goes, I got the name for the show. And I said, what? Because she was dyeing her hair. I said, what's the name of the show? She goes, Psychic on the Scene. She goes, because everybody stops you to tell you their stories about, their families coming to visit them and the ghosts that lived in their house. She said, that's the name of the show. So that's what happened. And then when I woke up with the podcast, I was like, nope, that's the name of the show.
Psychic on the Scene.
Psychic on the Scene.
Thank you, Psychic on the Scene, for coming to my scene.
Yeah, I know. Thank you so much. I loved it. I appreciate you having me. And hopefully your listeners get something out of that.
Oh, yeah. I think we helped a lot. Some great tips today that we gave. That was key takeaways.
With age comes wisdom.
29.
Forever 29. I told you, I lied about my age so much, I forgot actually how old I am.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for watching and listening, and happy day.
Stay blessed.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening. To stay connected to me, please visit my website at chooseahappyday.com. And at the bottom, just sign up for my email list to be notified of any upcoming events, book launches, as well as new podcasts. Until next time, have a happy day.